And I just did that with the right string, the right thread, and it should always end on the right. So you can basically keep your threads on their own respective sides. They don't get all tangled and knotted up. And help you avoid confusion. Which, doing this, if you're not focusing, and even if you are focusing, is very likely to happen. Because it is a little complex once you get used to it. So I just spanned behind on the next stitch on the left with the left thread. Spanned behind, came out of the hole that I skipped, and I'm going to go behind all the threads through the third hole, the third space here. Okay? And this is basically how you're going to make your caterpillar. And you're going to go do this back and forth across your cover, through all of your signatures. And it's a pretty simple concept. Going behind all of the threads in the next space over and over again. But just kind of making sure that you're doing it in the right order and in the right direction. Can get complicated, so don't think that this is a walk in a park. This is definitely a concentration exercise. Okay, so I wrapped around that third space for my cord pack, and I'm going to skip across into the left. I'm going to pull out the left thread, let that be there, and I'm going to come through with the right thread. And as you progress through your caterpillar stitch, it's kind of easy to forget where you are, or forget, like, oh, which side do I go in, which side do I come out. So one way that I noticed that helps me remember which side I go in, because it's different depending on which side you're going, I look at the last cord pack, and whichever side it comes out, that's the next side I'm going to go in. So this second cord pack, it came out on the right side, so I'm going to go back in on the right side through the next space, which is the fourth space. So I'm going to go behind all my all my threads. Gets caught on my pants. And depending on the arrangement of your holes, you'll see that different things happen. Like, my holes were very far apart, and so my head was very thick, but it became thin as I kept going because they weren't as taut and stuff like that. So, and I'm noticing now, because mine are somewhat far apart, and the holes are a decent distance apart, and my thread's kind of thin, I'm seeing that it wants to come, that my cord pack wants to come down, but I kind of want it to be up a little bit. And that may not mean a whole lot to you until you start doing your caterpillar stitch, but that's okay, because when you do make your caterpillar stitch, all of these words that don't mean anything will be so invaluable. I learned how to do caterpillar stitch from text and pictures and diagrams. And when I first tried to do it, I tried to just follow all the diagrams, because they were pretty detailed diagrams. But just following them, I didn't get that you do like 3 steps and then the next one. So I didn't understand. So having a video, I think, would have been so much easier. So I hope that this is helpful. as you try to do your own caterpillar stitch. Even though it's very fuzzy and difficult to see, and then I'm flailing around all over the place, I hope that that's negligible when you're trying to do your own. So I just finished the 4th space cord pack, and I'm gonna skip across. Oh, not spanning. Spanning goes behind. Okay, I'm gonna leave that right thread over there. Grab my left thread again. And I'm gonna span out. I'm gonna span my left thread. Come out of that hole I just skipped. And I'm going to go in the left side because my last cord pack came out the left side. But I'm going to go through the 5th space because I just did the 4th space. And that is the next space. And you don't want to skip spaces. Although that can be very easy when you're doing your signatures because the holes are so close together. So you just kind of want to watch out for that as you're doing your signatures. I'm not showing you in practice how to sew the signatures, partially because it's a bit of an exercise in finger acrobatics, and being such, it is a bit tedious. Can be. I'm sure after you do 10 caterpillar books, caterpillar bound books, that it becomes very simple. But I'll tell you a little bit about it and my experience with using the Catepillar Stitch to sew a text block to your book. My experience was doing the first caterpillar across the spine is the hardest because all of your signatures are loose and are hard to keep together and makes it difficult to make it tight. I'm skipping across now, I just finished that cord pack. I used 6 clips to secure my pages as I worked on it on the first caterpillar stitch across the spine, because you have to have the hole that you're going into and the hole that you're skipping, and so you have to have 2 signatures open, and I was trying to keep it tight to the board, and it is a little bit tricky, and partially I think because of inexperience and partially because it was just kind of crazy. My first caterpillar across the spine was a little bit loose, which is undesirable, but what are you going to do? I'm going through the 6th space, going in on the right because my last one just came out of the right.